I'm Jake.
And I'm Marlin. Hello.
AKA Gee. And today we're going to be reacting to the Nostalgia Critic review of Stephen King's It, the miniseries. With the new film, It Chapter 2, coming out, I thought it'd be a fun little tie-in to do. And this is actually a pretty old Nostalgia Critic at this point. This episode came out in October 2010. And I've seen this review a couple times and I really love it a lot. I don't think you've ever seen it.
I have not.
And I grew up watching the It miniseries itself as a kid, so I got a lot of my own nostalgia for it and my own experience of the chills and cheese. Have you ever seen the miniseries?
I have not.
So he's going in this pretty blind, which I guess can be a good thing. Experience, no experience, and looking forward to this.
Looking forward to what Doug has to say, yes.
Alright, without further ado, with the new It Chapter 2 coming out, let's watch this.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to. And seeing how we are still in the month of Nostalgia-ween. I figure we would play a little game, simply known as the Stephen King drinking game.
Never did again, because possible alcohol
Stephen
poisoning.
King. His prose are great, but his stories are crap. He has wonderful setups, but disappointing payoffs.
Yep.
He creates some great characters, and fortunately you get to see them over and over and over again. And one of the best ways to see his continuing patterns is to look at the ass-numbingly long TV miniseries, It.
3 hours and 12 minutes.
Based on the Stephen King book of the same name, it is another one of those films that loves to succumb to the melodramatic cliches that always seems to make it into every one of his stories. But what really surprises me is how many people say they're actually afraid of this movie. And that's why I've invented this drinking game to calm your nerves. There's a lot of movie to watch and a lot of booze to drink, so let's take a look. First of all, take a shot if your Stephen King story takes place in Maine. Well, that didn't take long. Yeah, our story takes place in Maine, where everybody has a checkered past, bullies make up most of the population, and cheesy lightning effects reign supreme. In this particular town, we come across a girl who sees a rather unusual sight. Tim Curry! And that's not scary enough. It looks like he's coming from the Black Mass of Ronald McDonald.
It's actually a very creepy opening.
So the kid gets murdered as Mike, the only black man in Maine, notices that this is the 6th recent child killing. So he calls up his old childhood friends to let them know what's going on. He starts with Bill, who grew up into the back of a horse's ass.
Hey.
Mike Hanlon, Bill, from Derry.
This causes him to have a flashback, which I'm not going to have you drink to every time it happens, because if you did, you'd be dead in the first 12 minutes.
Please, Bill, tell me a story. Go bug somebody else, you little cootie. I don't feel so hot.
This is Bill as a young man, played by Jonathan Brandis. Piss off!
Callback to old joke.
He makes his brother Georgie a paper boat for him to sail outside. Thankfully, it's the sunniest rainy day in history, so he can go outside and enjoy it. That is until the missing member of the Insane Clown Posse comes to join him.
There's cotton candy and rides and all sorts of surprises down here. And balloons, too.
Do they float?
Oh, yes. They float, Georgie. They float.
I'm getting surprisingly aroused the more I talk about how much they float.
You float, dog!
Yeah.
So the kid gets eaten by a sloppy dissolve effect as his sad brother goes into his room feeling responsible. And it's fair to point out that this is actually a creepy scene here. The book starts to have its time of the month when Bill calls for his folks to see it. But the parents, surprisingly, don't seem to see the blood on the book.
What were you doing in Georgie's room?
Nothing. Dad, listen!
I don't want you ever coming in here again, son. Do you understand?
How dare you try to mourn the loss of your one and only brother! Cut back to the present day as grown-up Bill decides it's time to go back to Maine.
Leave? Have you lost your mind? We're in the middle of making a movie.
They can replace me.
Yeah, if I saw Tim Curry in a clown suit, I'd probably leave production too. Oh, by the way, just to avoid future disappointment, let's take an early shot for a supernatural creature who's never given an explanation of exactly what it is or where exactly it came from.
Books do it better.
Oh, that's good letdown.
Meanwhile, we cut to another childhood friend named Ben, played by John Ritter.
Would you believe I used to be fat?
I bet you were real cute.
No, not just fat, but a regular butterball. Bet your fern I was. We used to say that as kids. You bet your fern. But I was FAT.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, fat kids are hot. Tell me about your boy tits.
Hello?
Hey, Stack. It's me, Mike.
Dead fat boy.
Okay, these flashback transitions are getting a little silly.
Extreme close-up!
Dead fat boy.
Listen, it's come back.
Ritter says no to his hoe on the go as he sits atop a tall building and ponders his past about being the new kid.
Welcome to Derry.
Thank you, Miss Douglas.
Oink, oink.
What a porker.
Henry Bowers. You will stay for 1 hour after school every day this week. Now report to the principal's office.
You're dead fat boy.
That I'm going to allow. Threatening his life is okay, but calling him a porker is simply going too far. So Ben meets up with a girl named Beverly. They seem to hit it off pretty good, but the chorus from Grease has other ideas.
I want to make sure you remember my name.
I'll remember. I'll remember.
How am I going to make sure?
Oh, I almost forgot. Take a shot for the one-dimensional bullies that have no development or redeemable qualities whatsoever. Silly me. I thought I came across one that has some form of humanity.
Seems pretty brutal in the book.
So he loses the bullies as he comes across the kids from Stand By Me, his classroom. And of course they become very good friends. But that doesn't help smooth things over with his stepfamily.
Hey, Mom, listen to this. Ben is in love. Get this back. Oh, Mom, my stop that.
Benjamin, Hanscom, stop that immediately, you young ruffian.
I hate you. You're only here because Mom says it's our Christian duty.
Hey, take a shot for a heavy-handed slap against conservative fundamentalists. What? That doesn't count? Well, surely there's gotta be some overblown whine fest against Christianity. Oh, all right. I'll have to read another one of your stories to see that religion is evil. So Ben comes across some sort of sewer entrance where the evil clown is waiting for him.
Come here, son. You'll like it down there.
You'll never have to grow up.
Daddy?
Yes, my dear. Would I lie?
Spaceballs.
They float. They all float.
So the clown doesn't really hurt him or anything. He just sort of points at him and calls him fat. What a jerk. But we cut to yet another childhood friend who gets a call. Beverly, who's hitting the sack with a coworker in the 90s who's so successful that his mullet is almost reaching his knees.
I gotta go to Maine. That was Mike Hanlon on the phone. You remember the call at work today? He's an old dear friend. I have to...
Oh yeah, I forgot. Everybody in the Stephen King story is a jackass except for the insecure poet and or loser. I think that calls for another shot. Why are you all spinning?
You get into bed.
No.
Then maybe you can leave this house in 2
No!
days instead of 2 weeks.
Not ever, ever, ever again!
Beth, you need me. Beth!
Nice emoting there, guy.
Beth!
Luckily, a cab comes to take her to our next flashback, where we see that Ben has left a poem for her.
What you got there?
Nothing.
Let me see that. You been fooling around with some boy? Sometimes I worry a lot.
Daddy, please.
Sheesh, no matter what scene this chick is in, she's always getting a slap in the face.
You get her down back here, baby! Or before God, with the skin off of you!
Oh, of course! Rednecks! Can't forget about the rednecks. That calls for a shot. So she meets up with Ben and heads over to the rest of the geeks and outcasts who pretty much make up the only fucking decent people in this town.
It's the River Nile. And fall
Enter Richie.
spaces. Richie Toes is my name. And doing voices is my game.
Hey look, Seth Green is playing a funny geek who spends most of his time doing voices.
Yep. Teenage Seth
I'm
Green.
far too tipsy to make a joke out of that. So the gang gets together and starts making a dam. Why? Because it's fucking Maine, and by God, that's as exciting as it gets. Hell, there's even some famous jerk-off writers who write about it. That's how exciting it is up there. So we see Beth and her father back at home when alcoholic! There we see Stephen King stories, alcoholic! So she goes to the bathroom sink where the clown snot bubble clogs up her drain and gets blood all over the place. Just like before, the grown-ups don't see it.
Yeah.
Bloody boogers. Sorry, I think the alcohol started going to my... The camera's pretty. Anyway, cut to the next childhood friend getting a call, which appears to be Andy Dick searching for his happy pills.
Where are you going?
Gotta go back to Derry.
Derry? Why would you want to go back to that dirty little town? There's nothing for you there. There never was, Eddie.
Why is it these people have a talent for surrounding themselves with the craziest fucking nutballs? Is anyone in this world outside the main characters likable? What kind of water are they drinking in Maine to make them such assholes? Insert, here's a big surprise, another flashback. So we find out that Eddie was the kid with the inhaler, as we see that his mother had a tight grip on him even back then.
See you tomorrow, Eddie.
Eddie has to rest tomorrow. I don't want you to play with him anymore. No good will come of it.
But, Mom, they're my friends.
You don't need any friends, Eddie, except for your own mom.
I think that's bad. You should see his brother. Speaking of shower scenes, Eddie gets a doozy from the clown as he walks in the shower room and finds out that the showers in the gym are stretching out. Yeah, that's about it.
That'd be pretty freaky.
Whatever he wants, but doesn't, so it's kind of stupid.
This is a little inconvenient, Eddie. Just hold on while I make a few adjustments.
Oh no! He's being attacked by the California raisins! Come on! That stop motion was horrible!
So funny.
We leave. Oh, come back anytime. Bring your friends.
Then what happened? What, you're gonna just stop there? Seriously? Come on, fill us in! What, did he just stare at him awkwardly for the rest of the time?
Well, goodbye.
So we cut to the Seth Green kid all grown up when... Oh, hold on. Let me guess. The phone rings and our flashback happens! Mike Hanlon from Derry. We see Seth Green chased by the bullies again, big shock, and runs into the principal. So he's ordered to go downstairs and come back up with a mop. He'd come. But he's afraid because he's suddenly attacked by Teen Wolf. Wait, let me guess again. He turns into a killer clown, talks about his floating fetish, shows off his sharp teeth, and then does nothing. Why doesn't he just eat these fucking kids? He's eating like half the other kids in the neighborhood. Why doesn't he just finish them off? And what the hell is more important in his time? I got you now, little boy! Oh my god, it's almost 3! In West Philadelphia, born and raised. Alright, so you heard everybody else's backstory. Where the hell is this Mike guy who's making all these calls fit in? Well, guess what? The answer will be revealed in... Another fucking flashback! It turns out Mike was the new kid on the block when, of course, he's attacked by the bullies. Are these the only fucking bullies in the town? Come on, kids, give the skinheads across the street a chance! They chase him over a fence as apparently they're immune to barbed wire as he comes across the usual gang of rejects. So they throw rocks to defend themselves as they discover that bullies apparently aren't immune to pain. They talk about how they've all seen the killer clown and discover that he might have been around for as long as 200 years. This literally gets the picture going as Mike's book comes to life just to make the kids piss their pants again.
I'll kill you all. I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but first you gotta throw them.
Every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true.
Why don't they just close the book? Wouldn't they be able to shut them up if they just slam that thing shut?
Drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all. Every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm just a sweet transvestite.
So they vow to destroy the clown as Mike, back in the present, plans to make one more call. So Mike makes his last call to stand, resulting in, oh, blow me if you don't know.
Courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
They find out that Bev is really good with the slingshot, so she's the perfect candidate to shoot Silver into the monster. Friggin' Silver!
Mother's earrings, baby. Solid silver. That's just stuff in movies.
Yeah, that's just stuff in the movies. This is a killer clown that can turn himself into a werewolf. You know, real life. So they go into the sewer where they think the clown is. As it turns out, the bullies are there waiting.
Where are they going? Down to the sewer, stupid. Yeah. And guess what? They're not coming back out. Did you get that, audience? Okay, here we go.
So they go into the sewer to try and fight the monster. This is really suspenseful because I have no idea which character is going to make it out alive except for all of them.
Yeah.
Now, before you die, I want you to think about every rock you threw.
Stop! The one-dimensional villain sees murder as the only option. That's in every Stephen King story. I said I'd call murder a shot. Hello, friends. I'm invited to be the Benjamin boy. Are you tired, run down, listless? Do you pop out at parties? Are you on propio? Okay. So this bright flashing light that's supposed to be the clown, I guess, comes in and kills two of the bully boys. Well, wait, you forgot to scare them for 2 months and brag about how things float. One kid gets sucked through a pipe like Super Mario Brothers, and the other kid just turns into Billy Idol. Why doesn't he just kill that kid? Because he is a very stupid clown. Meanwhile, the kids hold hands because that apparently weakens the monster's power. It's like a Care Bear special, I guess. When Tim Curry pops up and finally tries to kill one of these brats.
This is battery acid, you slime!
This is what you were afraid of the whole time, guys. An acrobatic stop-motion clown with a flashlight coming out his head. I'm drunk and even I'm not afraid of that. So they think they killed it and make a promise that if he's not dead, they'll come back to finish the job. Well, as years later, the clown is back and we find Stan is just a filthy cheater.
Couldn't take it.
Oh no, she dropped her can of beer. Isn't that the drink that the movie Steel made famous? Oh gee, that was nice of him, to leave the world's briefest suicide note. Did he really feel that would explain everything? Oh wait, before I go, I should probably explain the situation. And they can figure out the rest from it. So Mike and Bill reunite as Bill sees just how much has changed and how much has not changed.
Yours? Hey, I'm a bachelor, Bill. That's all I need.
Apparently running around talking about killer clowns scares the ladies off. Meanwhile, Richie, the Seth Green kid, gets a different kind of welcome.
Come on up, Richie. Shut up!
It's those wonderful balloons where even though no one can see or feel them, it still makes people somehow flinch.
Be hard not to.
Excuse me, sir. Do you have Prince Albert in a can? You do? Well, you better let the poor guy out.
Maybe it's because I'm drunk or something, but Tim Curry's a riot. Were people really scared by this guy? He's hilarious. I don't even think his scene is supposed to be this long. I think he just decided to stay on set and annoy everybody.
I had to go. I had to get cleaned up.
Tim, you're done for the day. Can you please piss off?
Tell him I'll see him tonight.
We have a movie to film here, Tim, and you're really not helping. Please leave. Okay, we'll just shoot around you. Don't worry, people. He'll get punished. He's gonna be in Charlie's Angels soon enough.
And Scary Movie
Betty
2.
and Beth has similar incidents where the clown pops up and scares them. But again, why doesn't he just kill them? Boy, they're really banking on balloons being scary, aren't they? Do they really think that's gonna threaten people? If that's the case, maybe this movie was a stalker film. Okay, so they meet up at a Chinese restaurant for a nice big reunion. Well, the camera circles around the table enough times to make you puke, though to be fair, maybe that's from this obnoxious drinking game. We see the only surviving bully is now in a mental institution, where he's transformed into Matlock.
Up here. You helped me once. Remember?
Oh, hey, it's a beautiful Tim Curry out tonight.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Meanwhile, back at the restaurant, we see that the fortune cookies have been replaced with Marilyn Manson's wind-up toys, which of course scares the living shit out of them. This leads them back to the library where they try to figure out what the heck's keeping Stan so long.
You tell that loser that if he hasn't left already, he's a dead man. We all managed to show up. I have never felt so much love in one room in my entire life. It's great to be back in Derry, breathing in that old Derry air.
But we continue to be incredibly inappropriate as we build up to the obvious dramatic payoff in 3, 2, 1.
Stan is dead.
Oh no, we were assholes! Well, let's mourn his loss within our flashback.
He said he didn't mean to go into that house, but this voice kept whispering to him.
Okay, I must really be gone because that looks like a mummy.
It is.
Seriously? We're using mummies now? This isn't a Stephen King movie, it's an Abbott and Costello knockoff!
He was trapped. The only thing he could think of to do was to hold his bird book out in front of him like a shield and say as loud as he could the names of all the birds he could remember. Hold his bird book out in front of him like a shield and say as loud as he could the names of all the birds he could remember.
Speckled grouse, Baltimore Oriole, gray, hammerhead, woodpecker, brown thrush.
Oh, well, and it worked? What the hell? What sense does that make? What, are mummies just allergic to the sound of birds' names? European swallow!
I hadn't thought of it until just now, I swear. He said, I looked into its deadlights, and I wanted to be there.
Deadlights.
Okay, what is up with these stupid sound effects whenever there's a flashback? I mean, will any sound effects do? I looked into his deadlights. You looked into his deadlights? I looked into his deadlights.
Usher, I've got something here. Anybody else?
Oh my god, more balloons! More balloons! Hide your family! Get down, balloons! Ah! Seriously, will you knock it off? There's balloons everywhere in this picture. They're not frightening. I mean, come on! When is a balloon ever gonna look intimidating?
That was actually a little creepy.
So the scariest fuck balloons come out as they see Stan's head is inside. This would be somewhat scary until...
Sorry I'm late. Well, let's see who's here. Richie, you still here? We never expected you to stick around. Nice nose job. No one would ever suspect. Haystack. Putting on a little weight, huh? Wheezy, how's your sex life? What's your sex life?
This is turning into a stand-up routine at Jeffrey Dahmer's house.
We all float down here, and you will too.
So I guess they don't find the talking head that funny, and they get the hell out of there. Meanwhile, we see the bully escape from the mental hospital by... It's supposed to be scary? No, it's not. It's supposed to be funny. It's the dark, dressed up as a clown, slow motion. Huh? That was really supposed to be scary? Well, it's not. It's not. So after that... Okay. They figure out that the clown attacks or feeds, if you will, on people every 30 years. Oh, and apparently the whole entire town is in on it too. How do they know that? Get this. Because when Bev was a girl getting beat up once, an old man went back inside. Yeah, because that one dick cheese didn't help her, that apparently means the whole town is crazy.
Well, there were a few hour moments.
He just turned around and went inside. That was when it really hit me. There was something terribly wrong in Derry, with Derry.
Isn't it obvious? Well, anyway, Matlock attacks Mike, but they manage to fight him off and kill him. They bring Mike to a hospital as Bev starts to analyze the situation.
Why is it doing this? Why does it hate? Why is it so mean?
You would think that a psychotic killing clown would be a little nicer.
How could I be so blind? If you see it now, you're not blind anymore, Bev.
Boy, this chick really gets around, doesn't she? I mean, I think she's literally felt up every single person in this group. I can see why they hung out with her. She's easier to get into than an art college.
Be careful. You can't trust anyone.
If anybody asks, the party got out of hand, dancing on the table, you took a fall.
Anyone who see me dance will buy that.
Well, that's great. And how are you going to explain the dead escaped mental patient?
Yeah.
You're not seriously suggesting you walk out of here and leave him lying there.
You're not seriously suggesting we walk out of here and leave it lying there.
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting.
Why don't you call the police?
This whole town is it in some way, all of them.
Bill's right.
Really? We're still on this? Because one old fart went in and jerked off, that means the entire town is crazy? Here's an idea. You're all seeing killer clowns. Maybe you're crazy. Did that ever occur to you, you crazy sack of crazy? So they all decide to go back into the sewer and kill this thing once and for all. So what kind of weapons are they bringing, you think?
I don't suppose anybody thought to bring anything really useful like a machine gun.
I brought this. It's the only thing I saved from those days.
Oh, that's great. They're bringing a slingshot. They can either bring a machine gun or a slingshot. Rambo or Dennis the Menace. You're going down, Mr. Wilson. Pew, pew, pew.
Come on. Guys, what the hell are you gonna do now? Sing Kumbaya? Wake up. Take a breath. Do you smell that? That's death.
You hear the wind? That's death. You feel the ground? That's death. You feel the itching in the back of your head? That's probably a mosquito. Mosquito of death! So they make their way down to the retired Star Trek set where Bill's wife happens to be trapped in the cave. Yeah, apparently she was heading to Maine to bring her husband back and the clown got him. Which is pointless seeing how he can take on any form, but I digress. As they get to the heart of the sewer, they finally see the monster for what he really is.
Get ready for letdown.
What? What? We waited 3 fucking hours for that! You can't be serious! You can't be serious! If I heard that a movie called It was just building up to a big silly monster, I think that's what a better tale. I mean, seriously? Seriously? My God. So you're telling me this whole fucking time we were building up to spiders! A giant legion of spiders! God damn it, Dr. Smith, this is really what you and Stephen King find frightening? Yes, my dream is finally realized. What smells like urinated whiskey? Oh, it's me. I've been playing the Stephen King drinking game. Oh, good God, man, that's been known to kill people! Hey, you know what else has been known to kill people? I'll tell you. This! That's right. Hold still, hold still. I'm gonna shoot all 5 of you. You're going down, Spider-Man! Not the superhero, the you! Woo! Don't you shoot myself out. Yeah, you better run. So yeah, they're fighting a giant spider, an unbelievably fake-looking one too. They all start to get sucked into deadlights until Eddie has an idea.
This is battery acid. Now you disappear.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking stupid.
Well, that was a stupid idea, guy. Maybe that machine gun theory would have worked after all. So Eddie gets killed, but luckily Bev shoots it in the glowing ball sack that seems to kill it. Oh wait, no, sorry, they tip it over like a cow first and then they rip its heart out. Truly, this was a battle of wits. So they all go back home to their normal selves except for Bill's wife, who seems to be in a zombie-like state because of the giant spider. But somehow riding downhill on a bike seems to make her better. So yeah, the character that had like 2 scenes, a few lines of dialogue, and barely any presence, she's gonna be okay. Yeah, I know you're all on the edge of your seats about that, but yeah, she's gonna be okay now. So, of course, all that build-up leads to an unbelievable letdown, which is the ultimate staple of Stephen King, which means that gives us our very last shot. This movie sucks! I mean, the stuff with the kids is tolerable because the kids themselves are actually pretty good actors, and of course Tim Curry's a lot of fun, but half the adults are just terrible. The plot makes no sense, it's melodramatic as hell, and it all suffers from those Stephen King stereotypes we've seen a bajillion times before. And plus, what's with all the balloons? They're not scary! Why do they keep thinking they're scary? What, were they high? I mean, seriously, who in their right mind would ever think a balloon is scary?
Uh-oh. Hello, Rob.
Hey, Critic, I got a new script here. Tell me what you think.
Balloons.
Still the good guy. Put the glasses.
Why is it so mean?
And that was the Nostalgia Critic's 2010 review of it. Hard to believe it's almost been 9 years.
Yeah. Hair.
Yeah. And it's one of his most classic reviews, and I checked on YouTube. It's currently the #2 most viewed Nostalgia Critic on their YouTube channel.
The drinking game was kind of fun, and he was a tolerably amusing drunk.
Yeah.
During the whole thing. So
when Doug is asked at conventions a lot, "Were you really drunk?" and he goes, "No, because I was actually funny." And he says it was apple juice.
yeah, I wouldn't have thought.
I love this review. Haven't watched it in a while, but really made me laugh out loud. My favorite gags range from when Doug goes, "Oh my God, it's almost 3." Then we hear the Fresh Prince theme, and the closing the book. "I am your..." Just.
Yeah, they were good. I liked the book. That was a lot of fun. But what he's said, 3.5 blankety blank hours, and this is what we get.
Yeah, the spider.
And that reminds me of Langoliers.
Yeah,
which was just like awful.
Yeah,
just awful.
It was
the ending.
Tolerable, good build up, but yeah, the ending. And Doug, when he saw the Langolier, said, "This is making the spider from It look credible."
Yes, but he was right here. This is just like really
I remember when I was in elementary or middle school, I saw the It miniseries for the first time, and I had a tutor who said he liked it except for the ending, and he came up with an interesting idea that I'm not sure would have worked in terms of execution.
Mm-hmm.
Like we see it as the clown throughout the whole thing.
Right.
He thought, what if we saw him as a monster or many monsters before and then the clown near the end?
You have to put it on screen and see how it works, I guess.
I'm not sure it would work, but it would have been a better payoff than the spider.
Spider was a big letdown.
Yeah, doesn't look cool. It's just, and I get it. It was a TV miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
They were limited in what they could do, and it kind of shows, at least with the special effects. But man, just my thought on the miniseries is the first half is actually pretty good and still holds up very well. There are some dumb moments, but it's still got some legitimately creepy moments. And it's the second half where the whole thing really starts to fall apart, even before the big spider ending. Just because the adult actors, I mean, John Ritter was a good actor. Harry Anderson really shined.
Oh, he was a lot of fun.
But, yeah, the writing for the second half was not very good. And they had the adults surprisingly act more childish than the actual child actors in the film. Really, with their dumb decisions. I mean, yeah, Richie has that one smart line. I don't suppose anyone's supposed to bring a machine gun.
Bring anything useful, like a machine gun.
Yeah, and they like dilute it, like they're gonna go at it like they did as kids.
What'd you think about the talking head shows up in the fridge?
Pretty dumb.
I mean, I haven't seen it, so I didn't know how it got there. If there's a backstory to that, or if
it's just the clown. He makes them. He makes the hallucination that it's there.
Ah.
But that scene always bugged me for a few reasons. One, Stan's the only one that didn't show up, and none of the adult friends have seen him in years. They don't have pictures.
Mm-hmm.
How did the clown know what he looked like if he's nowhere even near Derry?
How did they know that it was Stan?
Yeah. It's confusing, doesn't make a lot of sense.
And again, I haven't read the book or anything. Maybe there's a little backstory, some reason they would know, but based on what Doug, clipped for us here.
Yeah.
It just kind of like weird.
There's a lot of stuff they cut out of the book, a lot of backstory, subplots, character development, some graphic sexual scenes in the kids section that never would have been allowed on network TV, and even the theatrical version was like, we're not doing this shit. You want to know more about it? Look it up yourself. And the script,
the actual lines that they gave to the woman who played the young girl and the adult, they were very good or just stupid, and there was nothing in between. So
yeah, like that. Why is it so mean? that still sticks out.
Yeah.
And Annette O'Toole, I don't think she's an amazing actress. Like, if she is given good direction, she can turn a good performance.
Yeah.
And
I think I don't know what the name of the young girl was that played the younger girl.
I'll look it up and put it down here.
Yeah, and I think she was good.
Yeah, she did a very good job.
She was very believable. She showed fear. She showed camaraderie. She was just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Seth Green as the young Richie. Richie Tozier, both as a kid and an adult, he's my favorite character in the miniseries and in the remake, played by Finn Wolfhard. Richie's just the character that I love the most for the fact that he's a smart-ass, he can be brave, he can get cowardly. He just...
very flexible.
Yeah, he had the most range and different areas he went into. That joke at the beginning where he says Jonathan Brandis plays young Bill, then that animated elephant appears, he's like, piss off. Do you know what that's about?
Not a clue.
It's a callback to an old NC. Doug reviewed a Jonathan Brandis movie called Sidekicks.
Mm-hmm.
He made a lot of jokes about him, and then a lot of people left comments for that review, I believe, about Jonathan Brandis.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time he reviewed a Brandis movie, he had an animated elephant appear, representing the elephant in the room. And Doug's like, "What do you want?" And the elephant's like, "Are you going to talk about it?" And Jonathan Brandis, he goes, "You know he committed suicide, right?" So Doug addressed, "Yes, he committed suicide. It's tragic, but I'm judging him based on his performance here." So this time he's like, "Not bothering with that."
Not bothering with it. Okay. That's a good reference then. That's clever.
Yeah.
And I think using the drinking game as a way to shows what he thinks is kind of boring consistency with Stephen King's plots was he did it. It was a lot of fun, and it was very demonstrative. So.
Yeah, and it didn't get too over the top. He was still able to convey what he wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and he acted goofy drunk pretty well.
Yes, his comedic version of being an alcoholic was funny.
My favorite part was when he kept dropping his head and he had to bring himself back up.
But the hands would stay up. They did some really clever little,
Yeah.
Everything was different.
That part after the big spider reveal where we see Doug appear as that character, that is another callback to an earlier review. He reviewed the Lost in Space movie with Gary Oldman, William Hurt.
Mm-hmm.
In that movie, Gary Oldman becomes a half-human, half-spider being, and Doug dressed up as the character for a sketch, and he in that sketch kept going, "Spiders!"
Yeah.
And I love the part, "Oh good God, man, that's been known to kill people!"
So, yeah, there were some really good parts in it, and some of the direction they showed, like the little girl at the abusive home that she was in, and things, just the things that Doug clipped, those were all done well.
Yeah, there's a bit of inconsistency. Sometimes the tone of the miniseries is really dark.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have those happy montage moments.
Mm-hmm.
But in the first half of the miniseries, when they did it well, they really did it well.
Mm-hmm.
And the miniseries was directed, both parts, by Tommy Lee Wallace, who was a sort of a protege of John Carpenter. And before this, Wallace had directed Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Okay.
And he co-wrote the film with Lawrence D. Cohen, the writer of Brian De Palma's Carrie. Clearly he did a better job in that film. And last thing I'll say about the miniseries that I can think of that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Curry was excellent as Pennywise.
Yes, he was scary, and he was just like almost slapstick funny on some of the things he did.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's flashing really scary teeth.
What makes him work as Pennywise is he does a good job at being funny, and then he can act legitimately threatening.
Mm-hmm.
He puts a lot of energy into the parts where he has to be the clown.
Right.
And a lot of people are afraid of clowns, so even when he's being funny, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would get creeped out by him. And I'm not the first one to say this, but the scene where he appears in the sewer drain and lures that kid in, some people think, why would a kid not run? Well, he's a little kid, and also he's putting on a legitimately good happy clown performance, so it lets the kid's defense down.
Mm-hmm.
So that part of him, letting kids lower their defenses to come closer to him, almost makes him seem like a child molester.
Yeah, evil.
Yeah, really adds a bit of creepiness.
I guess the thing that they kept repeating about the where Pennywise was, they all float. It floats. They're all floating. Other things said that all the time, and and maybe that's where they get the balloons or something. But
yeah.
It just didn't, you know, it just seemed strange, and it wasn't good scripting as far as I was concerned. So.
Yeah, we never really got to see anything beyond the balloons float.
Mm-hmm.
But,
oh, Pennywise came up out of the drain hole in the shower with the...
that wasn't really floating. He just pulled himself up. And let me think. That scene...
Let me just say this. I thought that the shower heads reaching out to squirt the kid it was almost pathetic.
Well,
it was weird. If you're a kid, you're trapped in there and you can't get out, and then that's happening, that would freak you out.
Well, the kid is a kind of a germaphobe. He's afraid of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a lot of phobias. So
showerhead phobia.
Maybe he's afraid of water. And also that scene with the dog. I know I said one more thing, but that scene with the dog, that dog still finds hilariously dumb to this day. I get why you think it's dumb, but as someone who is afraid, like actually afraid of dogs, I can watch that scene with a little bit of chills.
Yeah,
I mean, imagine a human-sized dog coming at you.
Right. I didn't get that either. Why that couldn't be scary.
Yeah, and Rob's cameo at the end of the review, he really played the hell out of that. Just,
it was a little over the top, but it was over the top okay. Okay.
Balloons. And
let him figure out the rest of it.
Yeah. And say what you will, the miniseries is still watched almost every year, played on various TV stations to this day, because it sticks with people, especially if you watch it when you're younger. And the miniseries, it's not great, but it's not the worst either. It's only the second half that is really, truly bad. And this review is a classic, and I recommend both, one just for curiosity and one for legitimate laughs, linked down below. Would you recommend the review?
This review, yes.
Cool.
Definitely. They did a good job scripting, writing. They did that well, and Doug, as usual, really very good execution, and particularly on the comedic things.
Yeah.
And he always gives good commentary, to my mind.
He does. Very well written, and hope everybody enjoys the adaptation of It Chapter 2. Personally, I didn't think the first It movie in theaters was that great, but here's hoping the second one will be better.